ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, September 19th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up today on the program, we've got Marshall soccer action happening tonight. It's Kids Club game day. Bobby Iddings is going to tell us about that, and we're going to preview the game as well. So that's coming up later on in the program. We'll get plenty of your text in, and, of course, we have got our extensive preview of Marshall and MTSU coming up. So all of that on the show and more. But, yeah, it should be fun tonight. Herd in conference action opening it up against Coastal Carolina. That's going to be a 7:15 kick at Hoops Family Field. So the Herd back up in the ratings, 6 now, 2-0-3. And so this should be a challenging one. Coastal's always been tough against the Herd, it seems. So I'm looking forward to this one. Bobby's going to tell us more about it in about a few minutes. So we've got some sad news to start with today. I don't know how many of you remember Jimmy Clayton. He would come on the radio with me years ago and always talk about BAM. And he was assistant coach at Huntington High. He was also, the shot doctor. Helped a lot of young athletes perfect their shot. Unfortunately, we found out yesterday he passed away. And what makes that really sad for me was that I actually talked to him a few days ago, actually. I think it was a little bit over a couple weeks ago, to be honest. And he was like, hey, man, it's been a while. How you doing? I'm like, I'm great. I'd love to get back on, talk some basketball. You know what, Coach? We got Marshall basketball season coming right up soon, so, let's do it. Let's get you on. Let's talk about some hoops again. And that was the last time I talked to him. So when I saw the news yesterday, very sad about his passing. And I'm a little sad that I just won't have to get a chance to talk to him again. He was big years ago when I was doing another show elsewhere. He'd come on, and we would talk about everything. We'd talk about Marshall. We would talk about all of the high school games going on in the area. And he guided a lot of people at Sports City U. He was also a former teacher at Cabell Midland High School. He was someone that was on the bench on the sidelines. Huntington got 3 state championships in basketball. Coach was there. And he was someone who really tried to motivate students. He would say something, hey, Paul, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And that stuck with me because you can practice something all day long, and it's not going to make you perfect, but it'll be permanent. So if you're not doing it right, whatever you're doing, it's going to be permanent. So practice does not make perfect. It makes permanent. So those are some of the things. And, of course, he would always say BAM, as we alluded to. You know what BAM stood for? For him, it was believe, achieve, and motivate. So Coach would go, BAM! And if you knew Jimmy, you just enjoyed hearing him. So very sorry to hear that he had passed away. He founded Sports City U, and he had been a instrumental part of a lot of athletes' lives over the years. So very sad that we're not going to get a chance to talk to the coach anymore because I was really looking forward to it, getting him back on and talking some Herd basketball, talking some high school basketball with him. So I'm very somber about that today. But we will carry on with our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Bobby Iddings coming up in the next few minutes, so we've got time for your text. Also, we got a lot of action coming up this weekend. We've got football action, of course, coming up on Saturday and Sunday. Herd taking on Middle Tennessee. We're going to go on the air at 4 o'clock on Saturday. We'll get you set for the game. Also, we've got high school football coming up tonight. Cabell Midland's going to be at Spring Valley. That's going to be all over the place. We invite you to listen right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also, Ashland's going to be at Russell on Friday. That's going to be a 7 o'clock airtime, and you can listen to that on 97.9 The River. And Huntington High in action, taking on Hurricane. And that's going to be available on all our Kindred Communications websites and Facebook pages. Let me make it easy for you. Just head on over to our website, WRVC. We've got the links there. You can go to our Facebook page as well, and you can video stream it. It's right there. All the links are there, so make it easy for you. And you can just go to that website every single video stream. And so looking forward to that. Luke Creasy is going to call that game for us tonight. So I drug Luke back into action, and we've got him signed up, and he's going to be doing some Highlander video action for us. So I'm looking forward to having him on the call. And it should be it'll be an interesting, easy for me to say, interesting game against Hurricane tonight. Highlanders seem to be rolling right now. They're looking pretty good. So we've got all of that action for you coming up. But when we continue, we're going to talk about, of course, the Herd in action taking on Coastal Carolina. Bobby Iddings is going to join us after the break, and we'll talk about that matchup. Later on, we'll have our preview of Marshall and Middle Tennessee State University, and your text at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. All of that when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Fall might be here, but you can still sip into summer with $3 margaritas at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Our fresh lime margaritas are handcrafted to bring a burst of summer to your table, even on a crisp autumn day. Upgrade to mango, blackberry, spicy, or desert pear for just $1 more. Enjoy a round or two without breaking the bank. And pair it with the cafe's Baja Chicken Street Tacos for the perfect fall fiesta. Come to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue. Downtown Huntington.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavallette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Now in stock, hard-to-get Chevrolet Traxxas, over 50 available. More coming, starting under $23,000. The Car Ferry says clear the lot, 2026 is on the way. GMC 2026 Terrains, 40 in stock, up to $1,800 off. Mark Porter Chevy GMC in Ashland, Kentucky and Pomeroy, Ohio has truck. Take up to $14,000 off. 2025 GMC Sierras. Offer includes $3,500 owner loyalty rebate. Must own 2011 or newer Buick or GMC. Come to Route 7 and Route 33, Pomeroy, Ohio, or Greenup Avenue, Ashland, Kentucky. Over 800 GM vehicles available. Car dreams do come true. Sale ends September 2nd, all rebates to dealer.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's starting to become a Friday night tradition and that's Marshall Soccer at Hoops Family Field, and that means another opportunity to talk with the voice of Marshall Soccer. I'm giving you that title, Bobby Iddings. He's going to be calling the game on ESPN+. Can we just make that official, voice of Herd Soccer? Is anyone going to challenge you for that, or can I make that declaration?
Yeah, Ben Westfall's got the women's games this year. I'm going to miss at least one more men's game this season, just to some family obligations. But if you want to go the voice of men's soccer, I'm not going to argue it. I'm just not going to anoint myself.
I will anoint you, and you tell Westfall that he will like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you tell him I said he's going to like it. I'll anoint him later, but we got a good one tonight. Number 6 Herd coming in, taking on Coastal Carolina. I joked it was the kids club game, but that's really a big deal for the kids coming out tonight with the all the things that they get to do with that membership. We talked about that a few days ago with some of the marketing folks, but this is going to be a fun Friday night for the kids and for Herd fans alike, because the Herd's back in the top 10, number 6, and Coastal Carolina just seems to be one of those teams that Marshall, I don't want to say has problems with, but Coastal seems to give the Herd a lot of fits.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last season, and obviously that was a game last year. Sean Docking, who's been was the longtime head coach for Coastal Carolina, it was obvious they were just looking for some sort of a result in that match. It was the same thing that happened last year for Coastal Carolina against both JMU and West Virginia. They drew against all three, Marshall, West Virginia, and James Madison. The exact same strategy was deployed against the Thundering Herd. And even just talking with the interim head coach right now, Chris Fiddler, for this Coastal Carolina side, he said it was obvious last year we weren't going to score. So we wanted to give our guys some confidence. We wanted to implore some confidence into them. So we just kind of said, hey, look, we're going to play how we're going to play, and we're just going to try and get a result out of it. And I think he said, look, we're not going to play that way tonight. We're going to try and get a result out of this one that goes more in our favor. But I think that was just what you saw last year out of this Coastal side. Only won 3 matches last year. A little bit of a tough start this season as well. There's some roster limitations for this team. A couple different players are out for the season with injuries as well for this Coastal side. So it's a Coastal team that really has struggled to start the year. And yeah, if they play the low block, Marshall's got to figure out a way to play around that. Chris Creasy's talked about it a couple times with me. He said, look, he's like, sometimes we get an entirely different effort out of teams than they have played the entire season. So we've got to be able to adjust to that, and we've got to be able to work around that going forward. He said it's not going to be something where we're going to see the same thing from every team. We just got to be ready for whatever teams throw at us in order to kind of go around that.
Herd got his second win of the season on Sunday. It was a shutout for Dan Rose and the Herd with the 4-0 victory over the Gauchos. What'd you see from the Herd, and what did you like? Because at this point, Marshall is pretty level with everyone it's played for the most part. So finally to get an actual victory on the record had to feel good for Coach Creasy and his squad.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that's a Gauchos team that at the beginning of the season was receiving top 25 votes. So you look at this schedule for Marshall and kind of the way it's played out this season, and yeah, sure, and we've talked about this a couple times, Paul. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have the blue blood programs on the schedule, but that doesn't mean it's a bad schedule. I mean, you've got Virginia Tech that is still receiving top 25 votes. You've got High Point, who's up into the top 15 now. You've got these multiple programs across the board for Marshall. Again, these aren't the Clemsons, the Stanfords, the Wake Forest that are really kind of dominating soccer right now, but they're still really, really good teams. They're still really good sides that have given Marshall some problems and have given everybody else some problems too. So what I saw Saturday, I think you saw for the first time, obviously aided by that red card as well in the second half, kind of some spurring on at that point as well, from the coaching staff getting carded and just some unsporting from the UCSB side. And I think you saw Marshall pour it on. That's what it needed to do. It needed one of those matches where they came out and just poured the goals on, which is what you saw in the second half of that one. You saw a clean sheet as well for Marshall, as you mentioned, for Dan Rose. That's the first time we've seen that this year. What's going to be interesting tonight, Marshall gets some reinforcements back on that back line. Takahiro Fujita, you saw the social media post yesterday. He's chosen to come back this season. I think that was kind of known for a little bit, but Taka working his way back from injury. He'll be back tonight for this Marshall side. Thiago Apolinario, though, is injured, right? We saw that a couple nights ago. How long is he out? I'll have a chance to talk to Chris Creasy a little bit, try and get an idea for that as well. So this is the Marshall side, right? They talked all about the depth that they think they have. They think they have a ton of depth. They think they have a ton of guys that, like I've talked about, openers and closers, what Chris Creasy calls them. He wants to see what he can do with that depth, and he wants to find the right 11. It certainly seemed like he found the right 11 in the last 45 against UCSB on Sunday, and we're just going to have to see how that right 11 comes out tonight.
Bobby Iddings joins us. He'll have the call of Marshall and Coastal Carolina that's coming up later this evening on ESPN+, and of course it'll be live in your face at Hoops Family Field. Should be another great crowd for this one. I've talked to the marketing folks a few days ago. They've been really excited about how great of a turnout Marshall soccer has been getting on Friday nights. Just that's a unique atmosphere on a Friday night, especially with high school football going on, and we're right in the thick of that. And it just feels like it's almost this is playoff soccer. We're in the postseason. The crowds are really strong and into it. And we're talking just regular season on a Friday night. So how special have those crowds been, and what are you expecting tonight?
I mean, it's starting to become just kind of old habit, right? It's starting to really become old habit for Marshall to have these great crowds out. And, special give a shout out to Jared Hundley with the Director of Marketing and Staff Engagement for Marshall as well. Obviously, you had GFED in town. I don't know if you saw that, Paul, the social media craze that goes around all the different sports athletic facilities and everything. Had a chance to watch his YouTube video that he put up, just really highlighting the Marshall facilities, highlighting the Marshall campus. A really, really cool aspect. Jared was on that video, did a really good job kind of showcasing Marshall with GFED throughout that entire video. But look, this has become a premier game to watch. If you come out to a Marshall match, and you mentioned earlier real quick that Marshall's had trouble with Coastal in the last couple seasons. Yeah, last year was a scoreless draw, but 2 seasons ago Marshall won 6-1. It was a goal onslaught for Marshall, the most goals they had scored since they put 7 up on Pacific a few years ago. So this is a Marshall side and just a Marshall fan base that it's the whole. If you win, they will come. Not if you build it, because the stadium is here now. The pitch is here. It's if you win, they will come out. We saw that a couple of years ago with women's basketball with Kim Caldwell. We've seen it with any sport in Marshall athletics. If you show them a winner and you show them a consistent winner, and you mentioned the Kids Day, you show them a program that will invest in the community. And that's exactly what this program does. This program invests in the community. They take the time. They bring the kids out onto the pitch during games, and they bring the kids out. They play games with them at halftime. They bring them out during introduction. It's just a way to make a fan for life. And that's exactly what this Marshall program has done. And you continue to get the program out on the forefront, from things like social media posts with GFED, from putting the players in front of some of the amateur players across the Kanawha Valley, the Putnam County, the Cabell County, the tri-state area. You put them around there, you're going to get more and more fans that are going to pour into this program because they just want to see a winner. People want to be around a winner. And the more you see that, the more you see the winning, the more you want to come back.
Bobby Iddings joins us. Marshall taking on Coastal Carolina. That's coming up tonight. And it's going to be 7:15 on ESPN+. And, of course, for those of you that got tickets at Hoops Family Field, we talked a little bit about what this Coastal team might look like. They have dropped their last 3. What do you see from them as you go back and you look at them? Are there flashes? Is it close for them? And you alluded to you get a different effort when you play Marshall, but what are you seeing from them that maybe should concern Coach Creasy tonight?
Yeah, I talked to Chris Fiddler earlier today, who's the interim head coach. Now, Sean Docking was the head coach at Coastal Carolina for going on 25-plus years, and he retired. He kind of put in his retirement paperwork in early August. And talking with Chris Fiddler, he's like, yeah, we didn't even know it was coming. We were in our second training session of the preseason, and he was signing his paperwork in the HR department at Coastal Carolina. So he said, look, it came as a surprise. He said, but they've got some roster limitations, as I mentioned earlier. He said, we're a side that we have to stay organized, and we have to stay disciplined in our effort. If we don't do that, that's where things really turn over for us. He said, you look at that last match we had against North Florida, it was a 1-1 match until the last 8 minutes. We got disorganized, and all of a sudden, it's 4-1. We let up 3 goals in the last 8 minutes. So he said the biggest thing we have to do is stay organized. They've brought in some junior college players. They brought in some players that have been really good, even at Lindsey Wilson College over in Kentucky, that have been very successful. And he's kind of talked about, he's like, we have to stay organized. And I can't tell you how many times I heard the word organized talking with Chris Fiddler earlier today. He mentioned the fact that this is a team that is going to play hard, but with the roster, I mean, they have 6 players that are averaging over 70 minutes per contest. You look at that on the Marshall side, Marshall has maybe 2 that have averaged over 70 minutes per contest thus far. So this is a Coastal Carolina team that has a lot of pace. They do have some pace. They think they can go on the counterattack against Marshall. They think they can kind of push forward against the Thundering Herd. If you can get Marshall in some odd numbers, they think they can really attack this Marshall side. So that's one thing Marshall's going to have to watch out for, is that counterattack at times. Going to have to make sure the left and right backs that Marshall loves to run forward on that defensive line, you got to make sure those are retreating pretty quickly as well. That's been a guy like High Pinto, Tio Gadar at times, who have been on that left and right back. Marshall's going to have to make sure they retreat quickly as well to get back to defend against that counterattack as well.
When you look at this depth, how do you point to someone and say, okay, that's where it's at right now? Who's standing out? Who is trying to stand out on this team right now? Because I can't put my finger on one single guy that's really leading the way. It's like almost throw a dart. Hey, you've got the star of the game or the man of the match. At any given time. Who right now are you looking at maybe hoping that they're going to have a breakthrough or there's going to be heads and shoulders above everyone?
I think you got to look at Momo Diop, right? This is a guy that comes in. He was the Golden Boot Award winner last year in the MAAC, the fake MAC, right, as Marshall fans like to call it. And I think you really want to see him kind of step to the forefront. He's one of the guys you brought in. You expected a lot from out of the transfer portal when he comes over from Ryder. But at the same time, Paul, I think to your point, you look, there's so many different weapons along this front line. Just if you look at goal scorers, Joao Roberto, right, 2 goals the other night. Momo Diop still coming along as well. Larry Noel, Carl Romberg. You look at these guys just continue to be really successful at the top. David De La Vibora as well, just a really successful amateur player that has been playing at the top. You look at across the midfield, Yasha Sher has been getting his fair share of starts recently. Kirill Pakamov got a goal the other day against UCSB. Then you go to the back line, right? Diego Apolinario gets a goal the other day. He had a big goal down at High Point to try and bring Marshall even, trying to get Marshall a result in that one. So there's so many names and there's so many players that are getting quality minutes right now. To your point, eventually, who does rise to the top? And I think that's what's going to be interesting to see. And I talked with Chris Grassy a couple weeks ago. He said, the way we play, it takes a little bit to where you have to get a certain amount of training sessions to the point where you're really, really comfortable in our style. So then I asked him, I said, how many training sessions does that take? And he gave me a number. And I said, all right, so when is that? He said, you know what? I've never looked at it. He counted out the amount of training sessions it takes some of these guys get to a point where he thinks they should be comfortable. He said it could be mid-October, early November, which is right in time for kind of that Sun Belt Conference tournament, postseason tournament play before somebody's really, really comfortable in this style that they play, the kind of passing in triangles, passing in squares, consistently having options. So the beauty of this offensive attack for Chris Grassy is that you've got multiple players, and whoever has that good night, whoever is producing that night is going to be your guy that is going to be the leading point scorer, the leading goal tallier, the leading assist man. It's just going to depend on the night and who can play well within the system.
Did you just create a new position for Chris Grassy? Some analytics going on there, possibly? I know he's a notebook guy, but still.
He's a big analytics guy. He's a guy that he looks at the XGs, is what he calls them, the expected goals, and he loves looking at that stat because the way he looks at it is, hey, if our XGs are 3 goals in a match and we only get 2, keep shooting. You put yourself in the right position to succeed, and he'll tell me all the time, the law of averages says eventually it's going to go in. We just have to put ourselves on the doorstep at some point.
See, I imagine him just like having the reams of paper in his desk. You tell me if I'm wrong. I just can't imagine him being like a laptop guy. He seems to be the paper and pen type of guy.
It's a whiteboard. It's a whiteboard. He's got a lot of ideas written down on a whiteboard, some of which are just foreign language to me, and I'll ask him to explain it to me, and it makes a ton of sense. It's a matter of a guy that it is a soccer mind through and through, and it's really neat to see.
You don't get this insight anywhere else other than this show and Bobby on the broadcast tonight. It's going to be 7:15 ESPN Plus. Looking ahead to women's soccer, the ladies taking on Georgia State. Any early thoughts on that one as we've got a busy weekend here of Herd Athletics?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rafa Samois has been just rotating through his goalkeepers a little bit, trying to find the right 11 as well for him. Loses a player to injury. Obviously didn't have a player as well on that Thursday night match against West Virginia. They're just trying to find the right 11, and I think they're going to find that. Again, this is a team that already you can see the progress in year 2 under Coach Samois that this is at, and they're just continuing to look for the right combination of players out on the pitch at the same time. You saw them get off to an early 2-0 lead last night against ULM before then dropping that one 3-2. It's a team that's just got to learn to play with a lead. I think as you see them learn to play with that lead and you see them learn to be competitive more and more, you're going to see this team continue to flourish.
Coming up tonight, again, 7:15 ESPN Plus, Marshall taking on Coastal Carolina. Bobby Iddings will have the call. When's our next Friday? I'm looking at the schedule now. When's our next Friday we can do this again? Because we're in a conference play now. It's been a pretty nice schedule so far, but now you actually got to go on the road a little bit more. So it's going to be tough.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky comes October 10th. The Wildcats come to Huntington.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a full house. If I can't pick one, okay. I would say Kentucky and obviously October 31st, West Virginia. Will be a great road trip for the Herd. But, wow, they've got some really bangers on Friday nights. You got Kentucky game especially. So you'll be on the call on that one. But we'll get you back in here soon. And predictions for Saturday, Marshall, Middle Tennessee. What do we think?
It's the House of Horrors, right? The House of Horrors for Marshall. You look at kind of the last few years. Paul, I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit nostalgic when it comes to Middle Tennessee. I can think back to 2017. Marshall plays down at Middle Tennessee. The next day, my wife tells me she's pregnant with our daughter. So it's a cool memory for me. I'd love to see a victory, obviously, on the Marshall side. The Herd's just going to have to find that offensive continuity tomorrow. If they find that offensive continuity, I think it's a good win for Marshall.
All right. There you have it. Bobby Iddings with us. Have a great broadcast tonight. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got our preview of Marshall and Middle Tennessee when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Dutch Boys Durafighter is an interior paint and primer in one with a tough lasting formula. It provides great scrub resistance and durability with remarkable hide and a smooth finish. Save big on Dutch Boys Durafighter paint at Menards and start your next project today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Summer's winding down, your lawn's slowing up, and the leaves, they're already starting to drop. Robert's Lawn and Landscaping doesn't miss a beat. From final cuts to full fall cleanups, fresh mulch and winter prep, they've got your yard handled before the seasons change. Reliable, local, ready for what's next. Lock in your fall services now with Robert's Lawn and Landscaping. Visit robertslawn.com. Robert's Lawn and Landscaping, where every season starts strong, reliable, local, and ready for what's next.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future and better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now. 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
It may be goodbye summer in Huntington, but it's hello deals here at University Ford. Tough F-250s now up to $6,000 off. Escapes up to $5,000 off for just $299 a month. Broncos up to $4,000 off. Plus grab 1.9% financing and up to 125% of KBB for your trade. New ownership, improved process, better deals. Visit us at University Ford in Huntington or online at universityfordwd.com. See dealer for complete details on all offers.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1225. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1225. That's 800-777-1225 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up tonight on our Kindred video stream, we're going to have one Luke Creasy, who does not have a headphone. He has just walked in my studio now, and I'm going to put him up on the board in just a moment as he's trying to figure out. All right, he's figured it out. There you go. You're on mic number 2. Let me get that live. He just ran in, and I just said, "Okay, let's do it. Let's put him on the air." Okay, there you go. Got the headset ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I need this.
You know, Kenny said I wouldn't come in and you know.
Of course he did.
Photobomb your show.
Of course he did.
And I said, no, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you're going to do that, and I'm going to put you on the air.
Hey.
It's almost it's reminiscent of Woody just walking in here. And, you know, just sitting down and looking at me like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to talk now. You're going to put me on the air.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so good to see you again. You're doing the game tonight, Huntington High, Hurricane, on our video stream.
Yeah. Be the first time I've been on the headset for a game in, goodness, I don't know how long. 8 years?
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah. Well, because I did student radio at WMUL and then went to print side. When I went print side, I'd stopped doing games on the radio.
Right, so
or stream.
You have to you got to exercise that muscle now and then.
Yeah, I was sitting there making a spotting board earlier, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Broadcaster arts and crafts.
You know, but it's like riding a bike. I feel like once you start, you're just gonna keep on rolling and hopefully not hit a mailbox.
Okay. So you've got the video stream tonight. That's going to be available on all our Kindred Communication websites, and you can also go to our Facebook page or just go to WRVC.com. We'll have it there, and we'll archive it as well. Highlanders are rolling right now. They look pretty good.
Yeah, and Hurricane, tough start to the year after making the semifinals last year. Lots of change in that program, but ought to be a good one up on the hill.
So you're back in the booth for at least for the foreseeable future for Huntington video games. That's pretty cool.
Hey, you know, I used to live not too far down from there, and I graduated from Cabell Midland. But I know good people at Huntington High, and it's an opportunity to get behind the mic, and hey, I'm all for it.
Okay, so you're heading up, and you're going to be a neutral observer tonight because you're wearing a Tennessee pullover.
You know,
you know that works.
It is what it is.
That absolutely works.
And you're not going to miss me if you're at the game because it's bright orange.
You know what? Actually, if you think about this, Billy Seals is going to see you in the Tennessee orange.
He is.
And he's going to go, my guy Luke is back.
Hey, and it's, Darnell Wright, obviously went to Tennessee, had a great career there. Kim Caldwell, Marshall.
I've heard of her. She was okay.
Yeah. Went on to Tennessee. I had a cousin, one of my best friends that graduated from Tennessee. So, I'll sport the orange.
Okay.
I'll put on my green tomorrow, though.
Absolutely. Coming to Giovanni's tomorrow, maybe?
I'm going camping tomorrow.
Okay. That's fun.
I'll be somewhere deep in the forest.
All right, take your radio. I think we can get out there. Wherever the forest is you're going, I think we can get out there.
I think so.
Okay.
It's a state park, so it's got Wi-Fi.
Okay, so yeah, Wi-Fi,
yeah.
And, of course, we'll be on the 100,000-watt blowtorch, 93.7 The Dog.
Heck yeah.
Good to see you again. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun these next few weeks with Huntington High video.
Should be.
And Luca will be, of course, on the call tonight. And of course, you can. Do you still use the X?
I do still use the X.
Can people just message you and go, "Hey, great to hear you again, Luke"?
Yep. It's just at Luke Creasy. So if you feel the need to tell me you're listening, I don't mind giving a shout out. So
okay. You can give us a shout out now. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Guess what, Luke? It's Friday night. You know what it's time for?
Oh, no.
It is time for the kickoff.
Ladies and gentlemen,
will you take your seats, please?
Here we go.
There's the kickoff.
Tonight, Marshall renews an old Conference USA rivalry in Murfreesboro as the Thundering Herd face Middle Tennessee State. It's their first meeting since 2021, with Marshall holding a narrow 6-5 edge in the all-time series. This matchup has always been competitive, with several games coming down to the final minutes. Head coach Tony Gibson isn't talking to his team about the history with MTSU. He says the focus is on Marshall's own identity in year one.
Not even talking about it. We got 72 new guys and a brand new staff. None of us have ever been there, so we're going to prepare and go play a football game. Doesn't matter where we play them, on I-40, 60, it doesn't matter. We're going to show up and go play and do what we need to do. That's our goal.
Marshall comes in off a 38-7 win over Eastern Kentucky, the first career victory for Coach Gibson. Offensive lineman Jalen Slappy says the team was thrilled to deliver that moment for him.
It was real special, man, especially him. First road win as a head coach means a lot, man. I could feel like his feels when we won the game and just looking at him in the locker room. Like, it was a real different meaning for us, so it was amazing.
Defensive back Marve Myers adds that the win helped the team bond more quickly and build confidence.
You see a man like that get emotional, a stoic man like that, it just makes you want to fight for him even more. You know, we were already behind him before the victory, and, you know, just seeing how much it meant for him to get that first win as a head coach, something he's been wanting to do for 31 years. It's just an honor, man. So when we step out there, we understand that we're not playing for the name on the back, we're playing for the name on the front and the back. But to know we have a head coach like Coach Gibby, man, it just adds that extra fuel that we already have in the tank. It just makes us want to go out there and make them proud. You know, make them proud, make this community proud, make ourselves proud, our families proud, and just go out there and win, man. Win. That's what we want to do for them.
The spotlight tonight is on the quarterback position. All three have seen action this season. Jaquai Long at Georgia, Zion Turner against Missouri State, and Carlos Del Rio Wilson in last week's win. Gibson says rotating three quarterbacks comes with positives and negatives.
The benefit of it is they're getting experience. They're putting themselves in the moment. I guess the bad experience of it is if you're starting three, that means that we're still trying to find someone to step up and take that spot. So, but again, it's a work in progress, and we're different with all three quarterbacks. We're a little different. Carlos is the best runner. Jakai probably throws it the best, and Zion, he's came in and done some really good things. So, they're just all a little different. You're making people prepare for that. So, but again, it's a work in progress, and we just got to keep getting better and better at that position.
Del Rio Wilson impressed against EKU, throwing for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for 58 yards and another score. Gibson says it's his physicality that sets him apart.
He'll jump over people and try to run through people. And you don't want to take that competitive fire out of him either. You want to let him be him. It juices everybody up. I mean, I think one of his first runs, he lowered the boom on a D lineman. I mean, he doesn't care who it is. He's going to try to run through him.
He says no one in the room can get comfortable, but admits Del Rio Wilson gave the herd a spark.
There's always room for competition. I don't want anybody to ever get comfortable and think that they've arrived and that it's their job. But Carlos played really well. He had command of the offense, got done what we need to get done, took care of the football. So, right now, Carlos is if we played tonight, he'd be the guy. If he gets beat out tomorrow or the next day, then. But every day's a competition with these guys, and we have to make sure that guys play at a high level, especially at that position, to get us going.
On the other sideline, NTSU head coach Derek Mason says his defense is prepared for all three quarterbacks.
It's almost what we've seen all season. So I don't think that's anything new for our defense. I mean, I think we've seen two quarterbacks in almost every game that we played, other than Wisconsin. So I think just the idea of understanding who they are, okay, what's their DNA, and then preparing for that's sort of what we went into with this last game. Thought Purdy would be the quarterback. They showed us a different quarterback, and really, when it was all said and done, I mean, like, their DNA was still their DNA. So I think you look at teams' DNA, okay, and who they are, what they want to be, they're not going to change too far from that just to get into, a week 4 contest, getting on the road. I think they're going to be who they are. Those quarterbacks are all very similar. I know Zion Turner, I recruited him out of St. Thomas Aquinas. He wound up going to UConn, and he looked like he was a starter versus Georgia. But then you see how the carousel has gone. So for them, if that's the way they do it, then what we're going to do is defend football and not worry about who's playing quarterback.
The Blue Raiders turn to quarterback Nicholas Vacchiato, who has struggled with consistency, completing just 15 of 46 passes. Gibson says what stands out about him is intelligence and physicality.
He could pick apart a defense. I mean, the last 2 drives of the Nevada game, I mean, again, they were down 13-0, get the ball back with 7 minutes, go down, score. They hold them on defense, he leads them on a game-winning drive at the end. So you can tell he's a smart kid. He checks a lot of plays, it looks like, on his own and gets the protection right and all those things. And he's athletic enough, too. He can run around a little bit. And again, he's a guy that's going to run to throw it. He can hurt you with his feet when he decides to run.
Mason says a fast start is critical for his team tonight.
We've learned over the last couple of weeks, whatever we can focus on, we can apply some pressure to and actually become better at. So let's apply pressure to ourselves. Let's start in quarter number 1. Let's apply some pressure with having the football, scoring points. Let's apply some pressure getting off the field, and let's play well in special teams. And let's try starting fast and see where that takes us.
For Marshall, the formula remains the run game. Slappy says the Blue Raiders emphasize stopping it.
I feel like the challenge is going to be running the ball really. They're big on defense. They're big of stopping the run. They got good interior players. Their linebackers run around a lot, so they run sideline to sideline. Just picking up blitzes this week would be real good. Establishing the run, that's going to be the main goal. So I feel like if we do a good job at that, then we have the best shot to win.
He adds communication will be key if the offense is to find success on the ground.
It's just communicating, really. Like I said, I know how we are. Like, we know everybody. We got a good bond, but none of that matters if we don't communicate in the game. I feel like that's our biggest thing, just communicating, no matter where we're at, road or home away.
This game also marks a homecoming for Myers, who transferred from MTSU after last season. He says the herd has rallied around him as he faces his former team.
We're coming in against an offense that's air raid. We're going against a defense that likes to bring pressure and really betting on their guys, really aggressive on both sides. I'm just telling the guys this week, honestly, it's been less of me telling them things, but them telling me they have my back because they understand that I'm going back to where I used to be. And then I'm just emphasizing the importance of what it means for us to go down here and win. My freshman year, like most may know, I played against Marshall. That was my first game I played. And we beat Marshall at home. And I want to say that was one of the victories we got at home. I think Middle Tennessee kind of has history of fighting against Marshall at home. So I'm telling them, like, regardless of the stands may not be in full, regardless of what kind of team may show up on film, I'm telling those guys, expect them to come out and fight early, but we just got to put the hammer, like put the nail in the coffin early and just keep our foot on their necks the whole game and get that win because we need it going in the conference play.
Coach Mason points to Marshall's defense as the biggest challenge, noting how well it limits explosive plays.
They're big up front, the backers move well. They do a good job of applying pressure. And when you watch them, right, they do a pretty good job of building a wall, setting edges. I think, like any good defense, they communicate well, okay, and they found themselves in a position where they're not giving up explosives. That's what you got to do. You got to limit explosive plays. When you can do that, then scores go down and opportunities go up.
Myers says their herd has been locked in on every detail, big and small, to keep improving week to week.
Yeah, so we just been honing in on the little details. Coach Holly's been emphasizing, focusing on the little things like show up even earlier to meetings, take the field as a unit, sprint to the ball in practice. Like no matter if you're guarding a man on the opposite hash, if the ball's on the other hash, even if the play is over, go run and touch the ball carrier. It's just little things we've been doing to grow as a unit and just capitalizing off the mistakes we made in each game, even the things we did good. We just want to keep getting better. We're seeing flashes of who we can be as a secondary, and what Boogie did is just like the start of it. There's so much more we can do, and we will do.
This matchup is more than just another game. It's a measuring stick for both teams. For Marshall, it's about proving it can sustain momentum. For MTSU, it's a chance to even the all-time series and get its season back on track. After the break, we'll return with your text at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's time to get in the game with your hometown Chevy's Drive to Victory sales event. Our MVP is the Hometown Advantage. That's a 10-year, 150,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on all new and most pre-owned inventory. And don't forget about the Dynamic Duo. Interest rates as low as 2.9% and up to 90 days before your first payment's due. So come see us in Waverly or visit us online at yourhometownchevy.com to start your drive to victory today.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Hey, Tri-State.
Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Tri-State Power Sports, your CF Moto dealer. Visit their location behind KFC in Cannonsburg, Kentucky. Pollock's Jewelers, professional service with a personal touch. 913 Winchester Avenue in Ashland. Phone 606-324-3197. Car Stuff, time to upgrade your ride. Remote starters, window tints, stereo installs, and more. Visit Car Stuff, 3450 US Route 60 in Huntington.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, coming up on Monday, it's the return of Metro News Talk Line to get your week started, and it's right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's get to the text line. We've got a couple coming in. Texter messaged me asking about NFL and said, hey, Paul, as for the NFL, would you rather see doubleheader Monday Night Football games and do away with the Thursday games? That might not be actually a bad idea. You get an East Coast and you get a West Coast game. That would be cool. At the same time, I think you could open up Thursday for more marquee college matchups, make Thursday really special. I don't think that the NFL is going to give up real estate. Besides, it has the Thursday package. It has the Sunday night package. It's got those Monday games. The NFL is going to create inventory. I think that's really diluted the Sunday afternoon games just a little bit. And the fact that we've had some terrible primetime matchups. So you're going to have to figure out how to flex some of those. And I hate the fact that you can flex some of those games. The only games you really should be able to flex probably would be the Sunday games, because if, say, the Cincinnati Bengals get a Thursday game and then they get flexed out of a Thursday, I really hate that, because somebody might have made plans to go to your Thursday game. So it's kind of a give and take situation, but I would be okay with giving Thursday to college if it's really a big marquee matchup, big name, make it special, make it a primetime event for college football on a Thursday night. But the NFL, I don't think it's going to give up the real estate. It's taking real estate, really, and probably forcing college football to react to it instead of working around some of the college football dates. Also from the text line, 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. I've got a couple people texting in just wanting to offer some shout-outs and some support for longtime voice of the Ashland Tomcats, Dickie Martin. Dickie's been a little under the weather, and so I spoke with Dickie yesterday. Dickie is in great spirits, and he asked for everybody's prayers, and he hopes to be back calling games before you know it. So, I don't have a timetable on when that's going to happen, but at the same time, we do appreciate everyone's prayers and thoughts about Dickie, as he's really been under the weather as of late, and that's pretty much all I can share with you right now, but I have talked to him frequently this week. And if you know Dickie, you might understand this. First time I ever dealt with Dickie Martin, he was being a curmudgeon, and if you have ever met him, that's in character for him. But at the same time, he didn't know me, and I just blasted him back. He was just being so difficult, and I yelled back at him. And I cursed him out the way he was cursing me out, and he laughed, and we've been friends ever since. So Dickie's a curmudgeon. He's too stubborn. So he's going to be back sooner than you think, and we wish him all of the best. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line to be on today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, we've got high school football coming up tonight across the airwaves and the video stream. We start with the video stream, Hurricane at Huntington. That's coming up, going to be available on our Facebook page and at WRVC.com. Luke Creasy, who stopped by just for a few minutes ago for a flash visit. Great to talk to him again. And we're also going to have Ashland at Russell. That's coming up Friday night. That's tonight, 97.9 River. And we've got Cabell Midland at Spring Valleys. That's going to be a 7 o'clock airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And you can also listen to that on 92.7 and 98.5 The Planet. And, of course, we've got Marshall tomorrow. I'll be live at Giovanni's 20th Street for college football today. You heard just a preview of what we're going to be doing tomorrow on the show just a few minutes ago if you were listening. We'll have a complete rundown of what's happening in the Sun Belt and more tomorrow live from Giovanni's 20th Street. We go on the air 4 p.m., and we do it every road game at 20th Street. And we do it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. I want to thank all my guests. That includes Bobby Iddings. He'll have the call of Marshall and Coastal Carolina coming up tonight, 7:15 on ESPN+. Luke Creasy stopping by. He's got the call of Huntington Hurricane on the video stream with our Kindred Digital Game of the Week. That's going to do it. I'll be back with you tomorrow, 4 p.m. live from Giovanni's, and then right back here Monday at 5:06 on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.